Complicated story. You were telling me off camera that there are about 12 different moving parts here, but I think in essence the question is, was this a data breach?
So directly, if I have to answer that question, yes and no. So the issue is that the way it was done is technically not necessarily seen as a data breach because it was done the right way from a front-end perspective. So there was an app that was created by Alexander, a Cambridge professor. He's half a professor, half a developer, all of these kind of things. Called It's My Digital Life. And it was downloaded by about between 270,000 and 300,000 subscribers, which is not a lot in the bigger scheme of things. The problem is that he was able to utilize some aspects of a Facebook back-end system to be able to access those 270 to 300,000 subscribers and all of their friends, which led to millions of people's data being able to be harnessed. Enter Cambridge Analytica, which is a company that basically gets information and was then hired, in inverted commas, to be able to be used by the Trump administration to utilize information and speak to potential voters. So therein lies the essence of the story around why Facebook sits with the problem that they do today.
I wonder how Mark Zuckerberg feels about his sort of inadvertent involvement in perhaps helping Trump win the election, but be that as it may. What I've read up on it, the explanation that I've got here is that it was actually just a way, as you say, of getting around through the back end, that perhaps the privacy settings of these users who were affected, that's how they access the information.
So not necessarily. If they chose to give up their information, yes. So if I was one of those 200 or you were one of those 270 to 300,000 subscribers, yes, we give up the information. But somewhere along the line is that there's other people that never necessarily gave it up. So there is a technicality around it. It has come to the fore. Obviously, you saw the response by Mark Zuckerberg, I think it was, our time, kind of early hours of this morning, where he speaks about the journey that has been and the fact that Cambridge Analytica were asked to shut down and destroy the data that they had, and that apparently they have lied. The professor is stating that he is the one that's taking the fall for both Cambridge Analytica and Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg has now issued a statement via CNN, or not issued a statement, but has responded to a CNN interview and said he will stand before Congress if that's what it takes. This, I predict, is probably going to end up in terms of some kind of human rights violation, some kind of UN issue, because if it's found out that people across the globe, look, right now it's not isolated, but there's a boundary wall around it in terms of the American elections, in terms of Trump, etc., etc. But if this has to start becoming more of a global issue, and it will, because there is already the calls for a class action lawsuit. There is a particular person that has taken it to the court. She has advised her attorneys. It has started the process. So this story is going to explode, and it is going to progressively shape the way we deal with social media, number one, in terms of the future, the way we deal with Facebook in particular. The hashtag delete Facebook has now come. There hasn't been any clear stats as yet. It's still too early to be able to decide how many people have dropped it because of the delete Facebook. I mean, we are putting out a story today in terms of how to delete your Facebook profile by keeping your information and downloading it and being able to keep all that you have done in the last couple of years, but then being able to delete Facebook. It does take apparently about 2 weeks to delete your Facebook account. They probably want to gain all the information that they can. But yeah, it's not great right now to be in the Facebook space. They've lost billions of dollars in terms of their listing on the New York Stock Exchange. All of those kind of things are happening. So the next couple of days is extremely crucial. I would say, from a South African perspective, an African perspective, we need to be we need to take this very seriously. It's not just, it's Facebook. We have given people access to our information to utilize as they want to be able to do. So shut down your apps as much as you possibly can, the ones that are linked to Facebook. If you want to keep your Facebook account open, please check that your privacy settings that you referred to earlier have have been set, you are inadvertently giving information to apps and to people that you don't know that you're necessarily giving it to. So we just need to keep our ears to the ground and keep it very close in terms of what information are we going out. It's important to understand that we have an election coming up. We've already had a Bell Pottinger issue in terms of the Gupta bots and those kind of things. So we need to understand what this means in our lives, not just necessarily only from an American perspective.
You mentioned the hashtag delete Facebook, and the question, of course, now is two-pronged, I suppose. What is the future of Facebook in the wake of this latest scandal? And perhaps have social media users outgrown Facebook?
So absolutely, there's a particular, the hashtag delete Facebook has come about in the last 72 hours. The person that kind of gave it its gravitas was the original co-founder of WhatsApp, who obviously, as we know, has left. He left in 2017. He's invested $50 million in an app called Signal, which is apparently a rival to WhatsApp, or going to be a rival to WhatsApp. And his tweet was, it is time, hashtag delete Facebook. So whether it comes from a sinister place or not, we don't know, and we probably won't for the next few days. But in terms of, yes, outgrowing, there is a huge demographic that has grown. On the American platform, they lost 1 million followers in the last quarter of 2017, just from America alone. So that is telling us something. In terms of your question around the future of Facebook, it's never going to be the same, full stop. So whatever that future is, it's how Mark Zuckerberg responds to these claims, whether he does in fact stand before Congress or any form of global movement that is going to hold him to task, and he is going to be held to task, that I can tell you. In terms of a class action lawsuit, whether that's from an American perspective, whether that's a global class action lawsuit, if ever that happens, we've got huge days ahead in terms of what does that mean. But in terms of us, you know, look at your Facebook account. If you haven't opened it in the last couple of weeks or days or months, you don't really use your Facebook account, rather shut it down, get all the data. You know, I will send information through via NCA to be able to, how do you save the information, and you guys can post it on your website. We can do all of those kind of things. It's just, there's no panic around it. It's just to be able to keep yourselves aware in terms of what is happening with the Facebook scenario.
Yeah, just be absolutely careful about what personal information is accessible. Yavi Madurai, as always, thanks so much for coming into studio. Yavi is a social media analyst and, of course, the MD of Black Box Theory.